Okay, I'm going to take a break from doing my normal DIY skincare tutorials, and I'm showing Primal Toad from primaltoad.com how to make kombucha. He had a recipe in his smoothie ebook that I bought, and it had kombucha, which surprised me. I didn't know you could do kombucha in a smoothie, and I contacted him about that, and he said, yeah, I get it at, I don't know where he gets it. I think maybe Whole Foods or something. And I didn't even know you can buy it in the store. So it's so easy to make, and it's a lot cheaper. I mean, this doesn't cost much at all. So all you need are tea bags and sugar and then a SCOBY. And the SCOBY you can get from another person, which is probably the easiest way. I got mine from a neighbor when she bought her kombucha SCOBYs. And it grew to the point where I got an adopted child of one of hers. So that's how I got mine. Or you could probably even check Craigslist, or she bought hers, my neighbor bought hers at kombucha2000.com. So if that place is still in business, then I can attest to the fact that this kombucha SCOBYs that I've had have been around for years. I mean, the offspring of the original one. So that would be a great place to go and look too. Apparently you can also grow your own SCOBY, and I read that on smallnotebook.org, I think it was, and I will put a link to that website. So this is kombucha. It's a fermented drink. It's super healthy. It has a little bit of a tang to it. It tastes slightly like tea, but more like, it's a little bit of an acquired taste. My kids really like it. I don't want to quite say apple cider vinegar because I know that's pretty intense, but it's really tasty. And I'm going to also link to that website I told you about, because she makes it with also added grape juice, and I think that would be a fantastic way to make it too. So I'll have to try that sometime. But this is kombucha, and I'm going to take you through a little step-by-step tutorial of how to make it. Okay, you're going to get a pot of hot water ready to go and boiling. And to do just one SCOBY, you're going to use 3 quarts of distilled or purified water and bring that to a boil. And then when it's boiling, you're going to add 1 cup of sugar to that. So you can use organic evaporated juice sugar. If you do something else besides sugar, it may not have as good of an effect. And don't worry about the sugar content, because that's what the SCOBY eats up. So it's actually going to consume that sugar, and you won't be getting it. So you're going to add 1 cup of sugar to your 3 quarts of water, and then you're going to add to that, after that's been boiling for 5 minutes, you're going to turn off the heat and add 4 tea bags. It has to be black tea. It can be the orange Pico black tea. You're going to add that. In this show in this picture here, I have 16 bags, and that's because I'm quadrupling the recipe, and that's what I do on a regular basis. So forget that has 16 for yourself. If you're going to do a smaller batch, a regular batch would be for just 4 tea bags. So then this is without any heat, and you're going to let that steep for 15 minutes. Okay, so now the 15 minutes has passed, and we're taking out the tea bags. Put that in your compost if you have one. Okay, so now we have our sweetened tea water with the sugar in it, and all we're going to do now is take our kombucha mushroom, the SCOBY, and stick it the same way that it was resting on here inside, and try to get it to just kind of float on top. If it sinks, it's not a big deal. It'll come back up most of the time. And then just cover it. Let me just get something to wipe my hands with. And you're going to cover it with some kind of a breathable linen, even an old t-shirt, as long as it's clean. Cover that up. And I store mine in our hall closet, so it's just kind of a nice dark place so it won't get messed with, and it's out of the sun. I don't know how important that part is, but so there you go. That's going to sit for about 9 days. It can be a little bit less if you don't want it too tart, or longer if you like it tart. And it's going to start working on the sugar, and don't worry about that sugar, because the mushroom is going to eat away at the sugar, so it's going to become really tasty and very affordable. Okay, now we're going to see what our kombucha looks like and tastes like. So you've let it ferment about 9 days, and we need a glass dish to put the SCOBY in, or the mushroom. And just make sure you have clean hands, because this is where they're big on, you want the good bacteria, not the bad bacteria. So I have the mushroom here. Sometimes you're going to find that it develops a second layer. If you remember that the baby is on top, just think of it like piggyback. So the baby's on the back. The baby is good, and if it gets too thick, you want to throw out or give away the mom. Okay, so, or you can, it doesn't really matter which one you give away, but you want to always save the baby. So baby's on the back. If it gets too thick, then it's the mom, poor mom, that has to go. So you just I just layer them on top of each other. This is because I make so much. Obviously, if you only have one jar going, you wouldn't have to go through all this effort that I'm going through. You really don't have to. Ooh, that little baby on top fell right off the mom. In that case, I'm just gonna toss this one just because it's so tiny. I'm afraid it's not gonna be strong enough to do another batch with, but I've got mama still big. And remember, if you want to give it away, this is where you, every time you separate, you can give somebody else, pass it on to another person. This one has sunk to the bottom. That has not happened to me before. It separated and sunk. I know when you make your tea, sometimes the SCOBY will kind of float around or sink in the middle. Usually it will float right back at the top for the next 9 days, and then when you're ready to take it out, it'll be at the top. In this case, it's kind of sticking at the bottom. So what I'm going to do with this one is test it, and if it tastes funny, I'm going to toss it, including the SCOBY. I'm not going to keep it. So I'm going to go check on that one, and I'll tell you what to do with the rest of this. And then, by the way, the scent is extremely strong right now. And you can keep it going as long or as short as you want. If you like a lot more of a fermented taste, you can let it go longer than 9 days. In the beginning, you might even want to go shorter just to get used to the flavor of it. So I'm going to check on that one and get back to you. Okay, time to pour. I put a strainer on it just because sometimes there's just little goopy stuff from the kombucha. So I strain it. And I'm going to pour, what I'm going to do is, because, well, no, I take that back. Hang on. You want to leave some in the jar for the next batch. It's in the kombucha. It's going to grow. It will grow faster that way. Every now and then, maybe after about 5 batches, what you can do is pour all of this into to your new jar, and then rinse this out with hot water, and then pour some of that back in here, and have your new brew of tea with your SCOBY on top, and then continue it that way. You don't really want to use like antibacterial type soap to clean out these jars. They have to keep that good bacteria in it. So what I tend to do is after about 4 or 5 batches, if it just starts to look dirty, this one's really not bad yet because I think I cleaned it the last time I did it. You're going to see some growth of kombucha in the bottom. And that's all good to go. So this, down here in the sink, this is what I have that is what we will be drinking. It's all ready to go. The kombucha is ready to go. I'm leaving a little bit in here. This is a gallon-sized jar, so that's probably about half of a quart maybe of kombucha. And then I'm going to add the fresh tea to it and put the SCOBY back on top, and we'll do that next. Okay, this is the part where you just repeat what we did earlier, where you put the SCOBY on top of the sweetened tea, put the cover on, set it aside for 9 days, and that's it. That's it. You're all done, and now you just keep repeating the process every 9 days to a week.